Hey, what's up? Jeff Lerner here, coming to you from Santa Monica, California. And I want to take just a minute and talk about a characteristic I see with really successful people that I deal with, and I work with, and talk to. And just kind of hit me. Your mental work ethic is such a huge part of being successful. You know, you meet successful people, you deal with really successful people that have built tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in value from nothing. People say, oh, it's hard work, but it's a very specific kind of hard work. It's a mental hard work. You know, I coach and I do seminars and I work with aspiring business owners and such. And a lot of people will say, like, look, I'm not afraid of hard work. I was raised on a farm, like, I'll work hard. And I believe them. I think they are, those people probably really aren't afraid of hard work. They define hard work a certain way and they're willing to do it. But what I want to suggest is that there's a very specific type of hard work that is mentally stressful. It's its own thing, and that even some people that are very comfortable with hard work, people that have frankly done things that are far harder than anything I've done physically, still may or may not be really ready or be really cognizant of the type of work that it takes to be successful. Being really successful in business, and I'm speaking in business, but I think that this is probably true in relationships and other aspects of life. It requires a willingness to deal with uncomfortable situations, tensions, conflicts. I'll use myself as an example. In one of my businesses right now, I'm trying to simultaneously modify and significantly evolve the product set and even the whole business model, while at the same time reducing costs. So I'm trying to do a lot of additional work, but I'm also subtracting resources, let some people go, and consolidating some, platform costs. And basically we're trying to do more with less. That's the kind of thing that is very different from saying, hey, I don't mind building a shed, or I don't mind working long hours. It's a mental work ethic. That's the best way I know to describe it. To deal with really hard, really stressful things on a very consistent basis. Running a $10, $20 million a year company, I've never run a $100 million a year company, but I've run companies that do 8 figures a year. Every day, I deal with something that I think that feels like it's, at least an 8 out of 10 in terms of like what mentally I can handle. And yet every single day there's another one and another one and another one. And frankly, you hear people say all the time, they say, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do that. Plus you have 4 kids. Plus you get up and work out every day. Plus you are really, sort of OCD gets thrown around a lot, but really, in control of certain other aspects of your life, like your food and your nutrition. And I don't know how you deal with all that. That's what people say to me all the time. I don't know how you deal with all that. And I'm listening to my buddy talk about running a SaaS company. And in my mind, I'm thinking I don't know how he deals with all that. I think there's a level of, I deal with stuff that most people aren't willing to deal with. That's just a basic component of being successful. When you really get that, what you realize is successful people, they're not successful because they're special. They're successful because they're just willing to deal with things more often, more intensely, more consistently, more perhaps overwhelmingly than other people. Like other people have a threshold of I will only tolerate stress and mentally exhausting tension up to a certain point, a certain intensity and/or a certain frequency. Really successful people just tolerate that stuff more. And they stretch themselves further, and they get to where, you talk about a new normal. If you want to get to a new level, you have to develop a new normal. Normal for really successful people involves dealing with stuff that would overwhelm most people. And they probably didn't get there, in a single day. They grew into it through a series of decisions and a series of challenges. But at the core of it is that willingness to stretch. There is that willingness to tackle things that turn off most people. And that's probably the biggest takeaway from this, is that if you want to be successful, if you really want to do extraordinary things in your life, 90% of the things that seem unpleasant to you, maybe I wouldn't want to deal with that, you need to develop a mindset that says I'm willing to deal with that. In fact, I'm excited to deal with that if it helps me get to my goal. Whenever somebody says, I don't know, I'm unwilling to deal with that, or I wouldn't want to do that, that's only half a statement. Saying I'm not willing to do that only makes any sense. It's only a logical statement if you qualify it with, I'm not willing to do that for what reward. If you attach the, love and happiness for the rest of your life, or $1 billion, or you could not screw up your first marriage, or your kids would talk to you again, or whatever like somebody's most precious, most valuable payoff in their life is, if you attach that to most things, then all of a sudden they're willing to do that. So you have to decide, I'm willing to do this for this, I'm not willing to do this for this, and if you haven't decided on the for this, you're never gonna really go as far and stretch yourself and see what you're willing to do. And so you get crystal clear on what the payoff is, and then you basically get down to like, well, what do people believe? If people believed that the payoff was truly possible, they'd be willing to do a lot of things that currently they're unwilling to do. And so, I mean, I'm not trying to turn this into some big sociology versus biology, nature versus nurture conversation, but obviously if successful people are willing to do things that a lot of people are unwilling to do, is it because they've either attached different goals to it and therefore they're willing to do things because they have different goals? Or is it that they have a higher confidence in the probability, or at least possibility, of their goals actually being reached? And then it comes down to like self-worth, your belief system, optimism versus pessimism. And then it gets into like, your beliefs about the world, right? If successful people and unsuccessful people have the same goals, then they should have the same willingness to do things to reach those goals, but they don't, which means maybe it's a confidence and certainty. Maybe it's that successful people have a higher confidence and certainty that they can actually reach their goals. So then they're willing to do things that less successful people aren't willing to do. I don't know, I don't have all the answers. But I do know, if you're not willing to go way beyond the point of discomfort, and not just one time, that's the biggest thing. It's not just a one-time thing. It's not just, I'll go past the point of discomfort this once. It's, I'll go past the point of discomfort so often that my definition of comfort actually changes. I will do it so consistently that I will become comfortable being uncomfortable. That's when you really start to develop what it takes to do big things in this world. So, if that resonates with you and you want to do some big things in this world, go ahead and check below this video. I'm going to stick a link down there to some free training that can help you move in that direction. But it ain't going to happen if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, okay? So remember, life is meant to be awesome, but you got to do the work. I'll catch you later.